Zen at work. How to stay calm in office chaos. Have you ever felt like your workday resembles a raging river during a flood? Tasks come in waves, your phone will not stop ringing, your inbox is overflowing, and your colleagues, they add their own currents to this already rapid stream. You feel tension building inside, your shoulders tighten, and your breathing becomes shallow. It seems like just a bit more, and this river will overflow its banks, flooding your inner space with anxiety and fatigue. Today we will talk about finding an island of quiet in the midst of this office storm. We will explore how to bring a piece of Zen, not as a religion, but as a philosophy of mindful and peaceful living, into our daily work routine. Our topic is Zen at work. How to stay calm in office chaos. We often think that calmness is something external, that it will come when the deadline passes, when the project ends, when a difficult colleague goes on vacation. But Zen teaches us differently. Calmness is not the absence of a storm outside. Calmness is the quiet within that we can cultivate even when a storm rages around us. Are you ready to begin this journey to inner peace right now, without waiting for perfect external conditions? Chapter 1. Understanding the nature of chaos, external and internal. Before we start building our inner fortress of tranquility, let us look at chaos itself. What is it? In the context of work, it is multitasking, tight deadlines, unexpected problems, interpersonal friction, and constant information noise. These are external factors, right? But is that really the case? Zen wisdom suggests looking deeper. Often what we perceive as external chaos is actually a reflection of our internal state. Our mind, like a restless lake, reflects and distorts external events. When our mind is agitated by expectations, fears, resistance, judgments, even small ripples in the water seem like tsunamis. Imagine your mind as a garden. If the garden is neglected, full of weeds, anxious thoughts, unprocessed emotions, criticism, then any external wind, a work task, a colleague's comment, will raise dust, break fragile flowers, and create a feeling of complete disorder. But if the garden is well tended, if we regularly pull weeds and nurture flowers of calmness and mindfulness, the same wind will only gently sway the leaves and bring freshness. External chaos is a given. Deadlines will exist, colleagues will be different, tasks will be challenging. Trying to control all external circumstances is like trying to stop the wind with your hands. It is exhausting and pointless. Zen suggests shifting focus. Do not fight the wind, but learn to build a sturdy house, or better yet, become flexible like bamboo, which bends in the wind but does not break. The first step to Zen at work is to recognize that the true source of our distress is most often not outside, but inside. It is in our reaction to events, not in the events themselves. Realizing this, we claim an enormous power, the power to choose our response. Chapter 2. The first principle, mindfulness. So how do we begin to care for the garden of our mind? The key tool in Zen is mindfulness. What does this mean in simple terms? It is the ability to be here and now, to be fully present in what you are doing at this particular moment, without letting your thoughts fly to the past. Oh, if only I had done it differently yesterday, or to the future. Oh my, how will I finish everything by Friday? Our mind is an amazing tool, but it tends to wander. It constantly jumps from one thought to another, like a restless monkey. And it is precisely this wandering of the mind, especially when it clings to negative scenarios or regrets, that generates most of our stress. Mindfulness is like dropping an anchor in the stormy sea of thoughts. This anchor is your attention to the present moment. How can you practice mindfulness at work? It is simpler than it seems. You do not need to sit in a lotus position in the middle of an open office, although, if you want to, why not? The practice can be woven into ordinary actions. Practice 1. Mindful breathing. The most accessible anchor is our breath. It is always with us. When you feel tension rising, take a pause. Just for 1 minute. Close your eyes if comfortable, or simply soften your gaze. Direct all your attention to your breathing. Feel the air entering through your nostrils, filling your lungs, how your stomach or chest rises and falls. Do not try to breathe in any special way. Just observe. Inhale. Exhale. If your mind wanders, and it will, gently, without judgment, bring your attention back to your breath. Take 3 to 5 breaths this way. You will be surprised how this simple action can reset your nervous system. Try it right now while listening to me. 1 mindful inhale and exhale. Practice 2. Mindful single-tasking. Our brain is not designed for true multitasking. Switching between tasks depletes resources and increases errors and stress. Try selecting one task and dedicating all your attention to it for a specific period. For example, 25 minutes using the Pomodoro technique. When writing an email, just write the email. Do not check messages. Do not think about the next meeting. Immerse yourself in the task. Notice details. Feel your fingers on the keyboard. Focus on your wording. When your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back. This is training in focus and presence. Ask yourself, what one task can I dedicate the next 15 minutes to without distractions? Practice 3. Mindful micropauses. Throughout the day, take short, 30 to 60 seconds, mindful breaks between tasks, before a call, or after a difficult conversation. Just stop. Look out the window. Feel your feet on the floor. Take a sip of water, sensing its taste and coolness. These micromoments bring you back to your body, to reality, interrupting the automatic flow of stress reactions. Mindfulness is not about stopping thoughts. It is about not being carried away by them. It is like standing on the riverbank and watching the current, thoughts, emotions, events, without jumping into the water or trying to change the direction of the flow. You simply observe, and in this observation, space is born. Space for a calm choice. Chapter 3. The second principle, acceptance. The next important Zen principle that can radically change your self-perception at work is acceptance. And it is important to understand this word correctly. Acceptance does not mean resignation, passivity, or approval of unpleasant situations. It does not mean you should like it when your boss yells at you or when a project is on fire. Acceptance in the Zen understanding means acknowledging reality as it is at the moment, without internal resistance. Most of our suffering is caused not by the situation itself, but by our resistance to it. We think, this should not have happened. Why is he behaving like this? This is unfair. These thoughts are like trying to swim against the current of a powerful river. It drains energy, causes frustration and pain. Acceptance is saying, yes, the situation is like this now. The deadline is close. My colleague is irritated. The project is complex. This is a fact. Acknowledging the fact does not mean you will not take action. On the contrary, when you stop wasting energy fighting reality, this should not be. You free up an enormous amount of resources to constructively act within this reality. How can you apply this at work? Practice 4. Notice resistance. When you feel irritation, anger, resentment, anxiety, ask yourself, what am I resisting right now? Perhaps you are resisting the fact that a task is more complex than you expected, or that a colleague has a different opinion, or that you are tired. Simply recognizing your resistance already weakens its grip. Name it to yourself. Here it is, resistance. Practice 5. Yes, and instead of no, but. Try changing your internal dialogue. Instead of, oh no, this task again, I do not want to do it. Try, yes, this task is mine again, and I will find a way to handle it, and I will take the first step, and I will ask for help if needed. Instead of, this colleague annoys me, he should not talk like that. Try, yes, this colleague's words irritate me, and I choose not to get emotionally involved / and I will calmly set my boundaries. Yes, acknowledges reality, and opens the door to action. Practice 6. Accepting imperfection, your own and others. Work is an area where we often encounter mistakes, flaws, and imperfect results. Zen teaches us to accept imperfection as part of life. Practice self-compassion when you make mistakes. Instead of self-criticism, what an idiot I am, tell yourself, yes, I made a mistake. It is unpleasant. What can I learn from this experience? Similarly, try to view colleagues' mistakes not as grounds for judgment, but as manifestations of human nature. This does not mean ignoring problems, but approaching them with less judgment and more understanding. Acceptance is not a magic wand that will remove all difficulties, but it is a key that unlocks the door from the prison of our own resistance. When we accept reality, we gain freedom to act in it wisely and calmly. We stop banging our head against a wall and start looking for a door. Think about it. What work situation are you currently struggling with? What would happen if you tried to mentally say yes to it? Chapter 4. The third principle, non-attachment. The third pillar supporting Zen calmness at work is non-attachment. It sounds a bit esoteric, but it is actually a very practical principle. Non-attachment is not indifference or apathy. It is freedom from rigid attachment to results, expectations, praise, or criticism. We often get attached to how things should be. My project must be recognized as the best. Colleagues must appreciate my efforts. The boss must praise me. Everything must go according to plan. This attachment to a specific outcome is like an anchor holding us in a state of anxiety and tension. If the result meets expectations, we are happy for a moment. If not, we suffer, get disappointed, angry. Zen offers a different approach. Do the best you can and then let go. Invest effort in the process. Be attentive and diligent, but do not cling to the result with a death grip. The result depends on many factors, many of which are beyond our control. How can you practice non-attachment? Practice 7. Focus on process, not result. Shift your attention from the end goal, praise, promotion, perfect report, to the work process itself. Enjoy solving a complex problem, immersing yourself in details, the moment of creativity or collaboration. When you are engaged in the process, anxiety about the result weakens. Ask yourself, what do I enjoy about this work itself, regardless of how it ends? Practice 8. Letting go of control. Recognize that you cannot control everything. You cannot control the client's reaction, the boss's mood, global economic factors, or even whether the printer will break at the most inconvenient moment. Focus on what is in your control zone, your efforts, your attitude, your reaction. Let go of the illusion of total control. It brings enormous relief. Ask yourself, what in this situation can I control, and what do I need to simply let go of? Practice 9. Observing the ego. Our attachment is often connected to the ego, our desire to be right, look good, receive approval. Observe these desires without judgment. When you catch yourself thinking, I must prove I am right, or what will people think of me? Just notice it. Here is my ego wanting recognition. The observation itself creates distance and reduces the emotional charge. Non-attachment does not mean you do not care. It means your internal state. Your calmness does not depend on external results or opinions. You do your work well because it is right, because it brings you satisfaction, not just for praise or fear of criticism. This gives incredible freedom and stability. Your happiness is no longer hooked on external circumstances. Imagine how easy it is to breathe when you are not dragging around a heavy load of expectations. Chapter 5. The Power of Pause and Silence. Creating Space. In the frantic rhythm of the workday, we often forget one of the most powerful tools for maintaining calmness: the pause. Zen is not only about what to do, but also about what not to do. Not reacting immediately. Not filling every second with action or thought. Silence and pause are not emptiness. They are space. Space to hear yourself. Space for stirred emotions to settle. Space for clarity to emerge. In an office environment, pauses might seem like a luxury, but they are necessary. How can you create them? Practice 10. Pause before reacting. The golden rule of Zen at work. Before responding to a harsh email, reacting to criticism, or rushing to solve a sudden problem, pause. Even for just one deep inhale-exhale. This micropause breaks the chain of stimulus-automatic reaction, often emotional, and gives you the opportunity to choose a conscious response. Ask yourself, what would be the wisest and calmest response in this situation? Practice 11. Scheduled islands of silence. Put short breaks, 5 to 10 minutes, without a specific goal into your work calendar. Not for checking social media or news, but for silence. Just sit quietly, look out the window, drink tea in silence, walk down the hallway without your phone. Let your mind rest. These islands of silence are like oases in the desert of your workday. Practice 12. The power of silence. Sometimes the best response is silence. Not awkward or hostile, but calm, conscious silence. In an argument, in a tense discussion, sometimes a pause or simply attentive listening without immediate objection can diffuse the situation better than 1,000 words. Try to listen more and speak less impulsively. A pause is not a waste of time. It is an investment in your clarity, calmness, and productivity. In silence, we often find answers that elude us in noise. Where in your workday can you create at least one small pause for silence right today? Chapter 6. Integrating Zen into your workday. Small steps to greater calmness. We have looked at the main principles: mindfulness, acceptance, non-attachment, and the power of pause. But how do we make them not just theory, but living practice in your workday? The secret is in small, consistent steps. You do not need to try to become a Zen master in one day. It is a journey, not a destination. Here are some ideas for integrating these principles into daily routine. Morning intention, 5 minutes. Start the day not by checking email or news, but with a few minutes of silence. Sit comfortably, take a few mindful breaths. Ask yourself, with what intention do I want to live this work day? What quality do I want to bring to my work today? For example, calmness, attentiveness, patience. This sets the tone for the entire day. Mindful transitions. Pay attention to moments of transition between tasks, meetings, calls. Instead of immediately rushing into the next thing, take a short pause. A mindful inhale-exhale. Let go of the previous task. Tune in to the new one. This helps prevent carrying tension from one situation to another. Mindful eating. Even lunch break can become a Zen practice. Try to eat without your phone or computer. Pay attention to the taste, texture, smell of food. Eat slowly. This is not only good for digestion, but also excellent training in presence. Gratitude practice. 1 minute. At the end of the workday, before turning off your computer, find one thing you are grateful for today. It can be something small, a successfully completed task, a colleague's help, delicious coffee, a moment of quiet. Gratitude shifts focus from problems to positive aspects and cultivates inner satisfaction. What are you grateful for right now? Compassion compass. When you encounter a difficult colleague or client, try for a moment to imagine that this person also has their own problems, stresses, fears. This does not excuse bad behavior, but helps reduce your own anger and irritation, opening the way to more constructive interaction, or, at least, to your inner peace. Remember the garden metaphor? Caring for the mind's garden requires regularity. Small daily practices are like watering, weeding, fertilizing. Over time, your inner garden will become more resistant to external storms. Do not scold yourself if you forget to practice, or if emotions still overwhelm you. This is normal. Just notice it and gently return to practice. The key is in consistency, not perfection. Conclusion: your inner island of silence. So, friends, we have come to the end of our talk today about Zen at work. We have seen that office chaos is largely our internal perception and reaction, and we have tools to change this reaction, to find calmness not despite chaos, but within it. We talked about mindfulness, an anchor in the present moment that helps us not be carried away by waves of thoughts and emotions. We talked about acceptance, the art of not fighting reality, but acting in it wisely, freeing energy from useless resistance. We talked about non-attachment, liberation from rigid expectations, which gives inner freedom and stability. And we talked about the power of pause and silence, creating space for clarity and restoration. The path of Zen at work is not about seeking some nirvana in the office. It is a path of practical humanism. It is a way to make our working life, and we spend a huge part of our time at work, more meaningful, less stressful, and calmer, for ourselves and, perhaps, for those around us. Your inner island of silence is always accessible. It is inside you. These practices are just maps that will help you find and strengthen it. Start small. Choose one practice that resonated with you and try to apply it during this week. Observe the changes. Be patient and kind to yourself on this path. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope these thoughts and practices will be useful for you. Now I would like to hear from you. Share in the comments below. Which of the ideas or practices of Zen at work resonated with you the most? Or perhaps you have your own secrets for maintaining calmness in office chaos. If this video was useful and inspiring for you, please hit the like button. It helps the channel grow and reach those who might need this information. Subscribe to the channel if you are not with us yet, and click the bell to not miss new videos. We will continue exploring paths to a more mindful, calm, and happy life. And, of course, if you know someone who might find the topic of maintaining calmness at work particularly relevant right now, share this video with friends or colleagues. Sometimes one timely heard word can change a lot. Take care of your inner garden. Find moments of silence. And remember, calmness is not a destination, it is a way of traveling. Until next time, peace and mindfulness to you.